Welcome back to the last day of week 4. And today we're talking about staying updated on the current trends. For me, over the 8 years, I've seen so many changes from when I started. So tonight, we're going to dive into some topics of interest. My goal tonight is not more of educating you guys, it's kind of tell you what's coming, right? So you guys can think about the future. My goal is to make sure that you guys say, hey, I want to be a Budtender forever. I want to do more. And so some of the things we're going to discuss tonight should give you opportunities to say, okay, wow, this is what's possible here when it comes to cannabis and just the industry as a whole. Because remember, cannabis is just a niche. And so there's going to be a ton of information presented. And my goal is to help you guys be successful no matter where you decide to go in the industry. So I'm going to share my screen. So today we're talking about staying current with industry trends. And whether you're a business owner, a bud tender, or just simply passionate about industry, it's good to understand what's going on in the industry, what development when it comes to tech, research, different cameras, different terpenes, different strains. And so tonight we're going to just do two lessons: introduction to cannabis industry trends, and then advancement in cannabis technology and research. So the first one here is we'll talk about legalization of cannabis. So no matter where you're at, there are over 20 states that's recreational and plus a few more that's medicinal. If you're in the Caribbean, if you're in, say, for Canada, South America, or Asia, including Europe, there's different laws that's out there. So it's important for you guys to do the research. I can only tell you so much when it comes to the law. You guys are in different states, you're different jurisdictions. So it's important to understand what's happening. Like I said, for me, when I was in Richmond and I had a school, things changed. Like Delta 8, they banned Delta 8. And I've seen a lot of my colleagues had to switch their products because of the ban of Delta 8, including like even recently, I've seen ex-colleague that's selling a bunch of products that has Delta 9 THC in there. And me knowing how the law is locally, right, based on the math of the ingredients, I wouldn't sell that just personally. And so my hope is for those of you who are maybe owners to be mindful of the law because you can lose a lot of money buying products and a few months later you're unable to sell the products. So it's good to keep up to date. And come next month, the new farm bill is coming out. So it's important for those of us in the States to be abreast of what's happening here. So some of the topics tonight, the first one here is going to be focusing on cannabis-based products. For us consumers, you want to make sure that they know what's out there, what's available for them. Right? This is where your job is to provide them with answers that they need. So, whether it's edibles or topicals, you want to remain competitive. You stay up to date with the latest development, the technology in the space, so you can provide a really good product for the consumer. So, some key things to consider: product formulation and development. This is important. If those of you who want to get into chemistry can say, okay, let me dive into what new products come to the market. If you're in a store, chances are you'll be kind of ahead of the curve because what I notice is a lot of the new store businesses will hit up the stores and say, hey, I would love to get my product in your store, right? And for you, the decision has to be made is, hey, is this just another tincture like everybody else? This is a new product line that I can review and try out. And if I like it, I'm able to present it to consumers. Maybe, hey, you can do, like I told you guys, do like once a month, do an event and say, hey, to the community, come out. We have new products, new tech in the store. We want to show you guys how it's used. And by the way, we're going to give you some coupon codes. So by knowing what's coming ahead, you got to stand out too, right? And in the States, you have to remember, right? McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's is all next to each other, right? You have the drugstores, it's all next to each other. So like for you, there's going to be other dispensaries, whether it's a marijuana, a hemp store. And so to understand like what I can do in my store to be ahead of the other stores that's there is going to be important. And this is where understanding what products and things that's coming to the market is going to be important for you guys. The next thing is regulatory compliance for edibles and topicals, right? It's important to know, like, hey, what laws are changing for the products. For example, the edibles. When I was in Virginia, I had started a test product, and it was gummies. We had to shut it down. It started banning any product that can influence kids. So gummy bears, stars, any of the gummies that shaped like animals was a no-no. And so the consensus was either you go into round balls or square, or I think the other one's rectangle. And so by knowing these things, you're able to know ahead of time. Okay, well, I may not be able to sell these products here in the next 6 months because the law changing here locally. It's also important to understand that what are the laws that might come in effect that affect the product sale. They might not be able to. For example, the new farm bill, we still wait to see whether it's going to change. If they're going to say, hey, let me increase the 0.3% delta 9 THC in the products to 1%, like a lot of us in the community is hoping for. And so by understanding these things, you're able to be ahead of the game. And like I said, stand out from competitors. We have consumer education and safety. So remember, we always talked about the different research things. When it comes to cannabis, the industry is still young. And so it's important to understand any changes when it comes to safety, the products you sell, or education that's new that comes out that you can give back. So, for example, you say, hey, we discover a new cannabinoid, a new terpene, or we discover a new strain that's good for MS. Having those products now available in the market, you can learn these things, try the products out, and educate the consumer on not just how the product works, but the safety concerns. Because, for example, you wouldn't want a customer taking a CBN product for sleep in the middle of the daytime when they know they should be functioning, right? So being able to educate the consumer is going to be important on any changes that comes with the products you sell, right? It's also, I've seen it where brands end up changing the product because the manufacturer that was with before went out of business, or they, because of like the pandemic, for example, things changed. Some of the bottles they couldn't get a hold of, some of the materials you couldn't get a hold of, so you may have to switch over to another product line, and this affects the product you sell in the store. Right, so it's important to know these things so that way when you have customers who come in looking for the same product they used to, you have to say, hey, manufacturer change. This is the reason why, and it's up to you if you're going to offer a discount or not, right? But educating the consumer is going to be important on the products here. Some of the things you got to think about is how do you market and brand your cannabis infused goods, right? Come Monday, next week or last week, we're going to talk about social media marketing. So I'll go a lot more into that. But it's important to understand how to brand yourself. Remember, I would say, right, as a bartender, your goal is to brand yourself because let's say you decide you want to leave and go to another store. By you understanding and knowing everything you can will help you to stand out. And for me, a lot of the bartenders I see now is doing social media marketing. And so if you know these things and you know how to market yourself, you you do yourself a great service. And also because people trust you when you stand out. People say, okay, Bevan or Brittany or Kimron or Tevin is a great bartender. They're always there to help me. And so I love that person so much. He or she is the reason why I always go back to that store and buy my product. So then this is just any field of anything. But branding yourself is going to be important here. So any emerging technology and product development, whether it's enhancement and extraction methods, infusion, encapsulation. Encapsulation just means things like water soluble, different methods of combining different cannabinoids with the different methods, whether it's water, tea, coffee. These things matter, and understanding these things will help you a lot. Like I said, the industry is changing, it's always changing, and it's important for you to understand what's coming. So when it comes to evolution of cannabis strains, this one here is a little more tricky because we've seen so many breakthroughs in breeding. The one thing you have to consider is a lot of the strains now are bred so much that the original qualities that was there is gone. Or let's say you have a land trace. A land trace is a strain that's original. So you breed that strain with another strain, and you start selling a product. Somebody loves it. They're able to get some seeds to it. Next thing you know, they decide, oh my gosh, I'm gonna breed this strain with another strain that I have here because I want to see what happens. Right? I want to mix the two. All of a sudden now you come down the ladder where that product that you created is no longer as pure as it was before. Right? So it's things to think about. I know for me, one of the things that I always got to remind myself that on the market, there's more indicas, there's more hybrids and strains than there are sativas, right? So if you are a brand that has really good sativas, this is something that you can really talk about, especially on social media, to tell people like, hey, we have a really good strain for those of you who want to be able to up in the daytime, right? This is important. This is things I've seen. And so understanding what breeding happens, what genetics is coming, is going to be important for you because you may want it to be standard out of your location by not selling the same thing everybody else is selling. You want to look into insights into genetic research. So for me, this is like, I love this because when I talk about different ailments, I talk about anxiety, PTSD, depression, pain relief, sleep, MS, Huntington's, endometriosis, what research and insights into genetic possibilities there. We know that CBG is one of the cannabinoids that's really good for IBS, for gut issues. So what research is coming for that? If I know I have a lot of customers that has those types of issues, if I learn something, I can pass it on to my consumer because then the consumer like, okay, Bevan is feeding me all this information. Now I'm always confident that he's going to make sure he take care of me. Remember I said the role of a Budtender is more than just a Budtender. You are that bridge between the medicine and the consumer. And for me, I'm also consider myself a therapist because I'm there to help people. They ask me questions, they feel better. These are things that you will end up developing, especially if you're doing social media marketing. Next topic here is medicinal diversity. Like what kind of options is here to address various health needs? So you want to be able to provide patients with more tailored choices. As we're going to be seeing soon enough, a lot of products are going to be tailored to specific issues and understanding how those things work. The different options there is going to be good for you. You want to stay informed of anything that's happening, in the industry with strain, knowledge, different trends that's happening here, different events. Be knowledgeable. What's happening in your local area when it comes to cannabis? What events is happening, right? What trade shows do you want to go to? And a lot of those things, your boss, your business, most times they'll cover it for you. If you ask them to say, hey, there's a class that's happening. I want to take this class. I think it's going to help me become a better bud tender for the store. It's $50, it's $100. Can you please cover that? Right? And a lot of the businesses will do that for you because they're right off for one, and two, they know that it's price is affordable enough for them to be able to train you without them having to throw a lot of money into it, right? Looking to expand and treatment options, right? A variety of what therapy products. We see a lot of people, like for example, when I was in my car, I went through acupuncture and chiropractic services this year and last year, and a lot of them selling CBD products now. So other industries are really getting into cannabis now, as not as a whole, but as maybe like 2% of their overall business. So things to think about when it comes to where you want to go. Right, you don't have to be in a store to serve the need of a consumer. The next section here we have is advancement in extraction techniques. And so you may ask, why is this important? Because every extraction method is going to be different. Some consumers love different methods. So, for example, you have solvent-based methods, which use ethanol, butane, CO2 to extract the terpenes and cannabinoids. Some people swear up and down, hey, solvent is the best. And others say, nope, CO2 extraction is better, it's cleaner, right? It uses carbon dioxide, it's on a high pressure, right, and low temperature compared to solvents, because solvents may have residuals in there, right? So you remember we talked about the lab report class having residual solvents in their products. It's a leftover based on how it's done, right? So a lot of people say, hey, CO2 extraction is better. For me, some of the things I've seen by going to events, right? Rosin pressing. A rosin pressing is just a machine you squeeze down. Take the fresh flour, put it on a parchment paper, you squeeze it out as much as possible, but applying some heat on there, and the juice just comes out. Some people I've dabbed the juice fresh, man. That the smell, the taste of it is amazing. And some people freeze it. There's a rosin press, a couple $100, you can get a rosin. Some people cannot afford it. They use the old flat irons. So the ladies, like you used to flat your hair, like when you do the perm, right? The flat iron. I've seen guys use flat irons and do the same thing. But a rosin press is more, I'm gonna say, better if you're into that method. A couple $100 for those of you who use a lot of product. Maybe you just in the store you actually boss, hey, I'd like to get a rosin press because I think it's a cool feature. When we have events, I would like to do fresh rosin for people to try out, and so they can see like, hey, this is what it tastes like when it's purest form of full spectrum product. I've never done the ice water hash, but I have colleagues that loves it. They mix the bud and the ice, and they able to extract the cannabinoids by freezing it. I've never personally tried the product, but from what I understand, it's really good quality, and people love it. Hydrocarbon extraction is another method for using hydrocarbons like butane and propane to create cannabis concentrates. And so, if you have a dab, right, or use wax, those are concentrates, and there's different methods for extracting those things. So this is another one here. Supercritical fluid extraction using CO2, an alternative method. I don't have the experience with these, but this is another method here that individuals use. I heard a lot of the new brands on market. They talk about these different things here. And for me, on an education basis, having that in your brand really doesn't help you because the consumer doesn't really care about that. Right? They just want to make sure that the medicine they get is quality. But for you, understanding how the method is extracted, what procedures is in place, because again, it's all about the quality, the freshness of the product. You need to trace from seed to sale where that product comes from. And this is where, like I said, it comes back again to lab reports, so you can understand, like say, hey, everything of that product is of quality. Talk about ethanol. Right? Distillation is another process which separates the cannabis based on the boiling points by refining to the purest of the extracts. I've never had the opportunity to be in person. I've seen some videos of it. It's pretty cool. They use a lot of machines there. For me, it brings back my time in the military, using all the different machines, and so it's really cool to see how one industry I could have been. Had I used my knowledge in the military, I could have applied this. Had this was available then for me, right? So there's a lot here. The last one here is ultrasonic extraction. Using the ultrasonic vibrations to enhance the extraction process. I've never really seen this. I believe this is a new process. And so if you guys ever dive into this, please post it over up in the Budtender group so we can talk about it. Right? I would love you guys, even after this class, to continue engaging, coming up for help. The groups is there for you guys for life. And so I would love for us to continue engaging here. So let's go into technology, which is my field. My background is tech and coding, and so you guys can see I have my app, my mobile app. I do digital marketing. I do websites. I do social media. Those of you who need content for blogs, SEO, all those things I do. I have other platforms where e-commerce platform that I have built out. I have a plugin. So let's say you have a website and you say, hey, Bevan, I want to educate the consumers about the FAQs and the education. Can I license your content that you have for the last 8 years? I can't do that on your website. And so I use tech to help me. I love it because tech is my background. It's something I can talk about. And I know that by sticking to tech, I'm able to stand out more individuals. Doing the class right now using Riverside for the platform, using Mimea teaches class, right? The background platforms I use up on the app so that way you guys can take classes for the event. This is all tech here. And so, how can you leverage tech in the industry? So, one of the ways is automation. So, let's think about regular agriculture. Farmers back in the days, everything was done by hand. Now there's big machinery. There's indoor farming for those of you like in New York City and on the ground. There are a bunch of buildings that grow in, like say, cabbage, lettuce. It's all done in house. They use LEDs. A lot of this too is being tested for space. I can tell you, Elon Musk, he's installing. He's trying to go to Mars. His brother is into the agriculture side. They're using a lot of LEDs, and so everything's automated. The watering, the light cycle. Before you guys had all switches. You got to make sure at exactly 6 p.m. in the evening we turn the lights off. 6 p.m. in the morning the lights come on. But now we have automation for those things, for the watering and for drying, for trimming. All these things are placed because of cultivation. Data tracking, analytics. This is my area. So let's say this class. Everybody here, I can ask you guys questions after class. Say, hey, how do you like the class? Please provide feedback on what things I can change of the class, because I'm able to update the class in the future by collecting this data. This helps me to help not just you guys, so you guys can, any updates I make to the class, you guys can rewatch it. But for future students, right, these things I can track. So from a business standpoint, from a Budtender, by having events, by asking questions, collecting emails, you can track data, and the data is able to help you provide better product, quality products to your customer. See the sales software, it's just software that you use to track the whole life cycle of the plant, and that changes. Every year it gets better. A lot of it now has Bluetooth. You'll be able to track things, by just scanning the batch number or the barcode on the product. You can figure out, okay, this product was grown in California. It was grown in March of 2023. We're now in November, so it was harvested in early October. It's been curing for the last 3 weeks or so. And this helps you provide that experience for the consumer. The consumer know, hey, you can track this information. And for you now, as a Budtender, you're able to track for any mistakes happen, anything that happens, comes along the process. Remember we talked about regulations and the legal prospect. There's things that may happen that comes up, and for you to be able to track the information is going to be able to help you when it comes to anything that arises. Extractive technology. What is it? So if, let's say you're a grower, you cultivate, you have 2-3 acres of land of cannabis that you're growing, whether it's hemp or marijuana. Like, what new technology you can use so that you may say, hey, I just need 2 machines, and 2 machines can keep you from having, let's say 10, 20 employees. This is what happens here. So I want you guys to be shocked. The larger companies are using tech. They're reducing manpower because machines, over the long run, is going to be cheaper than having employees. This is just a fact, right? It's happening in every industry. Cars, McDonald's is now have kiosks, right? And so knowing what's coming is going to be vital. Cameras testing instruments. So today on Instagram, I was watching a video online, and the cops and them was testing with from the mouth for THC and cocaine. And so we know that the government's been working. I had one of my old colleagues. He was an ex-cop. He's an ex-cop now, and he tell us that a lot of cops had to deal with this because when the laws changed, they couldn't tell from the smell, so they didn't know if it was hemp or not, so they couldn't arrest people. And so what they started doing is testing out equipment. They used to have a little one. They broke it. I think it was saliva based, and when they shake it up, it changes blue or purple, I believe the color was. But for them, it wasn't something that they can take in court because it was new tech, right? Anything that's new is susceptible to lawsuits. But you want to be aware of these things, right? When you educate the consumers, you want to know what's new instruments come for testing cannabinoids. For those of you who cultivate, right, or maybe you have a store and you buy by yourself, you want to get a small machine so you can test the product that you sell. So let's put it like this. Let's say you get a testing for the terpenes and the cannabinoids for $2,000 in your store. That $2,000 over 3, 4, 5 years is going to save you money in the sense that, let's say you get a product, it comes, instead of you now having to send that product off to testing, so that way you kind of cover your ass because you may not fully want to guarantee whatever the manufacturer tells you, right? So instead of saying, okay, well, $75, $300, $500 every time I order products, adds up over time. So now instead of spending $2,000 plus whatever it is to test with a small machine, you're spending over 10, 15,000 over a couple of years. So by having a small machine now, you're able to just run a quick test and say, okay, well, the cameras match up as best as possible. Temperatures match up. So now I'm feeling confident enough to know that I don't have to go and spend extra money for testing. And so by knowing what's coming out there is going to help you a lot. The price will come down too as things go on. I find it, for me, this is important, especially as I have we've been in a school here in Grenada, e-commerce platform. So for me, I find it's important to learn what e-commerce platforms there is. There's the custom one I was telling you guys about is WordPress, which I use. There's Shopify. There is Wix. There's a couple others. BigCommerce is another one. The difference is understanding the difference of how they work. Because let's say you work in one store that uses WordPress for the website, and you and you decide you want to leave and go to another store because you want to move up. That store may go to business. The new store now is using WordPress, and so it's Shopify. You have to learn that system because you the one doing the POS system. So it's important to understand the different technologies here, which is going to help you be more well-rounded. And two, I will hope that you guys will take my business class. You say, hey, I want to start my own small business. Learning these things, right, is going to help you to say, okay, well, am I going to go with Shopify? You charge me about $75 a month straight up, or do I want to go something where I can be more hands-on with WordPress? I can get a server for about $20 a month, and I can control more of the platform. I can do more with SEO. These things help you to be able to understand the different options there is for you. Cannabis delivery technology. So what technology are for delivering cannabis, such as vaporizers, transdermal patches? What alternatives can you offer? So for me, I have this vape here. I know I was telling you guys in the class about using the dry herb. So this one right here, I love it because as you can see here, I can add a flower or I can add wax in here. And what I like about it is, like I said, it's discreet. If I vape in it, I can hit it 3 times. The light comes on here, and within about a minute or so, it comes on. The battery's dead now, right? But it comes on. It vibrates in my hand when it's ready. And for me, I just wait it like a couple more seconds, and I can vape. What I love about it is when I blow it out, there's no like weed smoke, so I can get the relief on this part of whether it's hemp or marijuana, and I can go over my day. I think it's discreet enough. Right? There's no smoke. I don't have to light anything because it's rechargeable. I can use it. So these are some of the things that you can offer in the store or as a product itself, right? And understanding these things, you offer something new to consumers. Say, hey, maybe you don't want to light smoke combustion. You can vape. And by the way, this thing right here too, you can also vape consciously by using the adapter. So something to think about. Blockchain in cannabis, right? So understanding blockchain, right? Everything's blockchain. Blockchain, the best way to say that is imagine the world is reviewing everything you do. So like, okay, let's see here. The data that you collect from growing to sale, right, is put up on a blockchain. So the thing about the blockchain is that once it's up there, you cannot go and edit it. It helps you protect the transparency and the quality of your company as a whole. So imagine you have blockchain and you have somebody who can just go in and edit the lab reports, or somebody can go in and edit the batch number or the date that it was harvested. By having the blockchain now, there's other people online who can see these things, and their trust factor is there. By having less hands on control is what blockchain really brings to you. Right? A lot of you see Bitcoin. Right? Bitcoin is another currency that's out there that's not controlled by the government. And so Bitcoin is built up on blockchain. And there's a lot you can do with it. When it comes to signing legal agreements with the manufacturers, those things you can put on blockchain and it's stamped and dated, and it's stored in the cloud. And you can always look back and say, okay, this thing was dated, this thing was signed by this date. And this helps provide the transparency again. So understand different technologies. This could be blockchain also in e-commerce, right? Blockchain in extraction technology, delivery methods. So you want to make sure that there's transparency in supply chain, and it's all about traceability and authenticity of the products that you sell. So what we call here a CRM, a customer relations management software, is to improve customer interactions and foster brand loyalty. So for CRM, you can collect emails. You can email your customers and say, hey, this week we have sales going on, or maybe it's use CRM software for all your lead generations, for all the manufacturers that you are using. By having them on one place, you can target them for, like, say for me, what I would do with is emails. Like I said, I can email out my manufacturers, hey, you guys, holiday season coming up. I know any you guys have any discounts? What new options you guys have in here? CRM is really good to build relationships with your customer. This is more on the consumer when it comes to like manufacturers, the behind the scenes companies that you work with, not your everyday customers, unless you decide to collect emails because you want to email them what's going on with, hey, we have a new sale. It's Black Friday. You just passed Black Friday. We have Black Friday sale, and this is what's coming up. So just something to look into. Smart packaging again is products that's childproof products that's there. A lot of this has been changing in the last 8 years. I've seen the industry change a lot, where even the bags that has the Myla bags have childproof safety features on there. So by having these things, you know that okay, now I'm able to sell products in new packaging that not only protects the consumer because it's childproof, but some of the products that we sell may end up connected to Bluetooth, and for the consumer to be able to track the dosage in there. So it's important to learn what kind of smart packaging there is available. Next topic here we have is research and medicinal benefits, right? For me, we talk about how the products help individuals. So when it comes to cannabinoids and the effects, what new studies is coming out, right? What medical conditions they're able to test when it comes to different compounds in the plant. Same thing for terpenes, right? There's always studies going on, always research going on. Like a lot of the things when it comes to COVID is coming out now saying, yes, a lot of the cannabinoids and cannabis was doing good for people who smoked in the pandemic, helping with their lungs. So these things are coming out, and it's important to keep up to date on these things. My only advice is be very careful what you say on social media, because you can't make any medical claims, but to know these things is going to help you a lot, especially when you do any one-on-one with customers. When it comes to the pain relief again, more studies is happening for pain relief. What studies happen for neurological disorders? What treatment is there for cancer? What treatment is there for psychiatric disorders? What clinical trials for cannabis is happening? There's a lot of companies that do focus groups behind the scenes. Maybe you want to get into a focus group. Some of it's paid. Some of it you can learn about new products in the market. And if you say you have sleep apnea and you want to say, okay, well, what is the new products in the market for sleep apnea? I see this focus groups happening. Maybe you want to get involved because some of your customers have been asking you about sleep apnea. It's important. These are some things that we didn't really think about when we wanted to get in as a Budtender. But these are things I've seen, and so I think it's important. Patient-centric research. Learn about the research focused on patient experiences and preferences. Like I'll talk about journaling. There is books out there you guys can purchase to journal. Tell your customers, you can even sell it to say, hey, we have books to journal like how you experience when it comes to how the product make you feel, like how long it takes to effect. One of the things we're working on long term with Mimea is we collect data as we build out a platform. More and more of you and others come on the platform. I can do quizzes. I can do giveaways to collect the data because for me, as an educational individual having a school, I want to know these things because as a nerd, like working with Kimron, I'm really excited to be able to grow different strains and see what strains we can grow. For like say, my friend has MS. So if I can find a strain that's really good for MS, why not grow it? Why not have focus group and then send it to my friend and say, hey, Christy, I would love for you to try this product out here because I know it's going to help you, right? And so knowing how what's out there in research for the experience, like what devices are there that's going to be better for them, it's important. Learn the impact on the ECS system, right? This is why educating yourself on an ongoing basis is going to be important. We now show like as time goes on what research is continuing on ECS system. We know that there's two main receptors in the body, CB1 and CB2. A couple years ago, they found out that CB3 receptors in our bodies, but there's not much information is available on there. So in about 5 years, that can change. And knowing that now will change a lot on how different products, different cannabinoids, different terpenes, different delivery methods is able to help the consumer. And then talk about the immune system, how cannabis affects the immune system. I have a lot of colleagues that I know have cancer and they use cannabis to help with them with cancer. So how is new research in immune system modulation can help them? What new technology is coming out? What new methods is coming out that they can take to help them out? And for me, knowing these things helps you become a better salesperson, become a better Budtender. So we'll learn about different delivery methods, innovations. Innovation, you innovate or you die. You adapt or you die. If you don't innovate and change who you are as a business, because if you're the same business you was 5 years ago, you're failing because the goal is to grow. The goal is to innovate. Right? When I first started, there was no such thing as transdermal patches for cannabis. It wasn't really a thing. It was there for other industries, but now we have it. And one of the biggest things for me was how were they getting the cannabinoids into that sticky thing they use in there. For me, I'm like, I wanted to know, like, how are they doing this? Like, when I know it's oil based. So, are they using a water soluble product? Like, what is it doing? And understanding what's in these products will be able to help you consumer. So, one time, my old somebody I built a friendship with, which me, I said, hey, Bevan, I started doing transdermal patches. And she left it on all day. I think it was like 24 hours. She took it off. She was having issues. She was having redness. So we were like, okay, I think you have an allergic reaction to this transdermal patch because some of it is made for about 8 hours. The time frame to tell you. But some people, they'll leave it on for all day. And so to understanding like, hey, okay, this transdermal patch may have allergic reaction. And two, it may not even be the person itself. It may be a bad batch. So understanding. So again, it says good to trial error and test our products. So looking on sprays, what kind of sprays is there that you can use for under the tongue? A lot of people don't want to use the oil; they want to use sprays. So understanding different sprays and different methods under like which spray by spraying one time maybe 5 milligrams a dose, another one maybe 10 milligrams a dose. So understanding different sprays and options there is going to be helpful. The nano emulsion technology. This is where nano for you guys is where they take the cannabinoids and basically heat it so much where it breaks down to the point where it's able to be water soluble. Right. This is the easiest way I can explain it. And the technology is evolving. I can tell you that that's a popular technology in South Korea that they do in the skin industry, right, when it comes to skincare products. So it's a big thing now in cannabis, especially when it comes to CBD. Inhalation technologies. Remember, talk about vape and the device. There's other vapes that you can use with a battery that has the screw-on cartridge. What new technologies is there? is there one that's disposable technology, or is it something that you can reuse? So understanding these things will be helpful. The next thing is time release formulation. So just like we know there's products like Tylenol, Advil, some of them in capsules, that's time release. Understanding what cannabis products that's going to be time release is going to be important. So you educate a consumer, you say, hey, you can take this product here, and within the next 40 hours, it should kick in, right? So these things go a long way. Marketing encapsulation techniques and protecting cannabinoids and controlling the release is another method, right? Creating stable and effective cannabis infused products. What kind of infused topicals and patches are there for targeted relief from pain? What type of edible innovations is there to improve the taste, the texture? There's people who have autism. There's many individuals I know that has the taste. For them, it's all about the taste, the texture. They may not love gummies. They may not love, like, for example, somebody may not like oatmeal because of the texture. So they may want another product. So the same thing comes here. What innovations is there for you, and what dosage based on the products? Disposable strips and tablets. So I've tried these. In 2018, 2019, there were strips on the market. A lot of them had cinnamon in there. I didn't like it because the cinnamon burned my tongue. And so I had to, like, when I was reviewing products. So there's dissolvable strips you can take, put it on the tongue, it dissolves. You go about your day if you don't want to take oils. There's dissolvable tablets that you can take as well. But people who don't want to take tinctures or sprays. And then customizable delivery devices. There's other technology. People are always looking for different devices to give you methods. I remember 2018, I believe it was, when I went to MGBizCon. There was a device that they had that you can't tell it, hey, I needed this exact dosage, and it would deliver the exact dosage to you when you inhale it. And it was pretty cool. I haven't seen it since. I believe the company went out of business, but you want to see what's on the market because all about, again, the customer experience. So just go quickly in blockchain. We want to understand blockchain basics, how the supply chain traceability you can use for blockchain, right? How you want to ensure product authenticity. Doing smart contracts, which is when you sign things between you on the manufacturer. Any agreement you can sign is on the smart contracts. While regulatory compliance you can put up on the blockchain. Customer confidence and transparency. By having all the things they mentioned, can bring trust because you say, hey, everything we do here is on a blockchain. You guys can go and watch. Everything is in the open, it's transparent, and we want to make sure that the consumer, you as a consumer, is getting the quality products. Next thing here is data security. I'm using blockchain to protect customer information. Or customer buy products, they're able to know that the data they give on the website, the email, the name, the address, that information is safe and secure. And blockchain is decentralized with accessibility. Like I said, it's in the cloud, it's secure, it's not everywhere. And so you as a consumer is able to feel confident in everything that we do. And then how are companies using blockchain in cannabis research? The information that they research, the researchers put up on the blockchain so they know that it cannot be tampered with. What's emerging trends is in blockchain integration, right? Like what's happening. The industry is always changing. It's important for you guys to do research on here. The next one we have is, especially here, I'm excited for this, the rise of cannabis tourism. So here in Grenada, we're getting ready to legalize. And so it's important to understand like what's going on here. The legal landscape overview, like what laws there's in place for when it comes to tourism, where can you have Airbnb, what regions you can have events, private events, where you can and cannot smoke. It's important for you to understand the legal landscape here when it comes to tourism. Cannabis-friendly accommodations, or hotels or lodgings, Airbnb that's cannabis-friendly. There's a lot of Airbnb that tell you no smoking of cannabis. So knowing like, hey, we want to do events, we want to do host some parties. What facilities that we can use. And this is important too, because if you're in an area that has tourism, um, especially if you're a store, connecting with a, for example, an Airbnb that you know that's campus friendly, you can offer them products there. Some of the products in the store you can sell can be there available for the consumers that they use, right? And two, being able to be that bridge for that area is going to be key to gain all that tourism traffic. But tours and experiences available in your area. These things will help from guided visits to cultivation facilities, campus infused cooking classes. This is important. For me, like what I loved about being in Virginia, I was able to network with other places. So, like with students, we should do field trips. And so, for me, providing the experience went a long way for the students. Well, the culinary adventures are available. What cannabis infused cuisines? What kind of experience can you provide? We did a Valentine's Day themed dinner, right? Back in February, that was 2022. It was wonderful, right? I was able to help the chef use the how to make sure that the say if it's 10 milligrams of CBD, it's 10 milligrams of CBD. If it's 5 milligrams THC, and this is important because last thing I want to do is provide cannabis infused products, and then the consumer leaves there feeling inebriated because they take too much THC. So these things you can do based on if you are a location that's able to have those types of events. Educational workshops and events, again, like how can you use what you're doing to educate the tourists by saying, hey, for example, you guys come here to Grenada, right? We have this drink for you guys here up in the rainforest, so you guys can go smoke and feel good about yourself, right? Having these workshops to provide something different for them because they come off the boat. Tourists come here to Grenada, so what can we do to enhance the experience for them while they're here? What kind of social networking opportunities for you as Budtenders, going out and saying, hey, these are different social events that's happening. This is the different opportunities for you guys, especially when it comes to tourism, being able to offer them, say, hey, we have a cannabis event going on Friday for the tourists. We'd like you guys to come out and check it out. Since you guys love cannabis, maybe you could learn something new here. What kind of local art and culture integration? Like we know a lot of individuals who use cannabis are into art, they're into culture, music, what's going on in that you can also align with. If there's an art show going on, maybe you can send out one of your employees to vend a table for the business, take your products from the store. I have done this before, right, in Virginia. So you can set up shop and say, hey, I have a store down the street. So all the tourists now can know that, hey, Bevan has a store down the street. How can the impact of tourists affect the local economy, and what you can do now to make sure that you protect that there's no oversupply of tourism. But the goal here is for you to be able to create jobs, especially for create local businesses and increase overall economic growth. And so for us here in Grenada, being able to, we know a lot of the tourists smoke. That's the first thing they come off the boat, they ask for. So how can us providing cannabis make them happy so they can come back? Because I know that happy, somebody who smokes and walk in the streets will more likely be happier. They're going to more likely to buy more products of people in the area. Being able to navigate cannabis regulations, especially when it comes to tourism, like what can and cannot be affected of the regulations for the area, because you could say, hey, you cannot smoke over here, but we recommend going over here and smoke. We can't sell Delta 8 because it's illegal here. So these things is important for you when it comes to those in tourist area. And then what future trends, innovations that available for cannabis, because some of them may want to take that stuff home. You can say, okay, well, you can't take that information home, but this is some cool gear, right? We have these bongs that's made only here in Grenada that you can take home and give as a gift.